Everything's male dominated.
Well, I know for sure in my younger life as an artist, it felt really clear that because there was an emotional, spiritual aspect to my work, that some men think that they're not able to also have the intellectual, conceptual side, which women are very able to have that, but I think it's seen often that just because there is that emotional sort of spiritual side, that's all there is. And I think there is a kind of a pressure because of that when you present something to strive to make sure that it's supported intellectually, or that you have sort of approving yourself.
I think that in cultures where women are freer to do what they want, I think that there's a lot of women doing performance. But I think we only know about the men doing performance. So while I think women are probably active close to the ground, really doing lots and lots of performing, I think it's the men who have the notoriety. And I know that that's true, because I experience it all the time.
I think there's more opportunities for men. You see sort of in the media more men in their work.
Well, what I find interesting is that almost always it has to be, this is women's art, and then they're represented. And why can't you just be an artist on your own right? It's usually a thing that you have to be labeled as a woman whenever your art is out there. Someday it's just going to be artists.
I think female perspective tends to be more holistic. Even in the process, it tends to be more connective to other people.
The work is really connected to a desire to make the world a better place initially for children, for our children, and then that kind of expands into just a better place, period.
Because I think whether a woman is a mother or not, I think that aspect of thinking about others, taking care of others, so I think women can be a really good voice for those that don't have a voice, whether it's other women or nature or children. I just think women tend to give voice to those who don't.
I think that the female perspective has led a lot of the environmental movement, or the sense of the whole ecology, of bringing performance in connection with the earth, with bodies, with all those things that I said that Maridel's voice was saying, with looking really deeply inside, with looking in community, without drawing the lines of saying that this is political and this is personal, but that there's a melding, that you can't separate one or the other. There's a certain raw truth, a certain honesty, a certain ability to speak from a place that is very real.
I remember in grad school, the men were making big things, and the women were all making work that, connected people in some ways, and weren't. I mean, not that women didn't make some big things either, but that wasn't sort of the. And the process also, I think, is always more important for women. What happens, even if something isn't successful, the process that brought you to the completion of that piece, it still could be successful because you learned or grew or understood something you didn't understand before.
As a woman, it really allowed me to be other than what I was told I should be, or what I was expected to be. In the world, we don't show the integrity of our true selves, and that's one of the things that's so beautiful about art, is that you can have this opportunity, this virtual opportunity to really be true to yourself. And it's a relief.
Work that fosters peace in the sort of fullest sense of the word peace, that people are empowered and alive and full and so they're filled up, so they have something to give instead of being empty and desperate.
In my work, I really try to find what is true, and also what is true for me, which might be things that I haven't spoken or things that people don't speak of often or freely to speak it. I really try to work from what I try to trust that what is burning in me as an artist is a reflection of what is around me, that I'm a product of a greater culture.
I feel that the very act of being an artist and being stubbornly staying with it is an act of resistance, because it is a way of life. To believe that something like May Day can happen without the sort of huge commercial backing with big advertisements and purchasing of advertising, that it can be created by many, many people, that it can be owned by many people, that it can have the voice of many people. That's resistance. That we speak about what feels true to us here in this community, and that usually has a resonance that goes beyond this community. That's a resistance. The fact that we speak outside of the usual forms of communication, I think that is an act toward maintaining a very material person-to-person contact, which really stands in resistance to the virtual world. And when I think about even the question of performance being usurped by film, because film is great, and film can do things that performance can't. You can't create a pageant on film. You can make big epics on film, but you can't create the experience of what it's like to be there physically present.